Excited to talk to you today, and we'll just have you start. Do you want to start talking about your?
Well, let's talk about art itself first. And I've been an artist my whole life. I've been a professional artist for about 40 years, and as a young artist, the most difficult thing for me to grasp going out into the real world with my art was what happens when it leaves my studio. Because when it's in my studio, I have my intention, and I know what it is that I'm trying to impart. As soon as it's out on the wall, it is no longer mine. Not at all. It's up to the eyes of the people looking at it to bring to it what they bring to it. And it often isn't anything like what I intended. So then what do? Well, I have to just totally let that go and relax and say, okay, well, that's interesting. But it's also a learning experience because other people have really interesting things to say. And, it isn't all about me, especially when it's on the wall. So I had to get used to the fact that if I'm going to show my work, that's what is. So I'm going to walk around a little bit because I want to show you my own work here. I want to also say that a work of art actually exists as a sort of contract between what the artist intends and what the viewer sees in it. This is my piece. I did it for the show. It's called Insight. It's a diptych, which means it's in 2 panels. My art usually is done in series, and the series that this is part of is called Divine Alignment. It's called that because I'm a Reiki master, and I don't know if you know what Reiki is, but Reiki is a system of healing, and at the higher levels it has these symbols that are kept secret and sacred. But as an artist, I felt that if I take some of these symbols and just kind of chop them up and move them around and just use parts of them, I'm not giving away any of the sacredness, but I'm intending to emanate this good feeling of Reiki to my audience. So anyway, I tell you that because the intent of this painting was to do that, and this is how I oriented it. However, when I was in the middle of painting it, this is what happened. Sorry, I'm exposing the ugly wires, but what happened was I turned the painting around to look at it and also to say, okay, well, I'm putting some purple in. I wanted to match the purple on the other side. And when I reversed it, I don't know if I can make it straight here, but when I reversed it, I found that it looked pretty cool this way too. Which was, part of, and of course this isn't, hung right for it, but to give you the idea, that's what would happen if it were together. So I had to let go of the idea that the way I intended it was necessarily the best way for this piece to be oriented. And so what I thought might be fun to do is for all of you to look at the painting this way, and you already saw it the other way. And I'd like a couple of people to tell me which way they think they like it better and why. Yes?
I liked it the first way because just the way with I guess it's a trapezoid in a sense, or the rhombus, it just kind of flows, and it's kind of simple, at least in my mind.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Yes?
I think the first way for me was just very straightforward and honest, and I felt no anxiety about it. If anything, I just kind of was okay. But now this way, it's giving me anxiety. I feel this energy in my chest that I'm no. There's the upper black quadrant. Yeah, it just feels this void of disharmony to me.
Great. Whereas it didn't when this was on that side.
Yeah, not at all.
And isn't that interesting? Because this is on the bottom even when it's over here, and yet just changing the orientation causes this feeling that it didn't the other way. Thank you, that's great.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes?
I actually kind of like it this way because
the other way you had like the purple kind of on two sides, and this is almost like all of these colors are kind of bringing it all together with that little purpley part in the center. So it's almost, to me, like, oh, bring it in,
Yeah.
where the other way, like you felt more of a harmony the other way. To me, it was kind of like, you know, pushing it apart and two different things, and how do those go together, kind of stuff.
Well, I think that that speaks to how we as individuals bring our own stuff to what we're looking at. And it's, you know, if one person is anxious with it this way, another person is anxious the other way, that's because that's what's going on in our head and with our visual system. And Dr. Greenspan is going to be addressing all that in a moment. You had an opinion? Yes.
I was gonna say I liked it the first way because I didn't see anything. I just appreciated the whole thing as one piece. Now I see it as a fish, and I mean, I don't want to.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
want to, but it's there.
Yeah. Interesting. Yes.
I appreciated the pyramid in the middle with the three eyes above, and when you moved it, that side of the pyramid is now moved. So I'm kind of disoriented now with the picture. But I mean, it still goes together very nicely.
Okay, anybody else want to talk about it?
Sure.
Yes.
I liked the other one.
Okay.
And there was more of a symmetry to the colors than the shapes that way to me.
Okay.
So, I think it depends on how you perceive things.
Well, thank you. All right, how about we take a vote, and the majority rules how this is going to hang for the rest of the show. I signed it on the back, so I'm not signing the front of the painting until it is decided how it's oriented.
Can you show it the first way again?
Sure.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Just hold them up.
Which way did you go?
I like your pictures. I know a newspaper.
What if you turn it upside